You with the script. Hello, this is the regular board meeting for July 26th. Start the meeting at 5:06. We will call the meeting to order and then stand for the pledge. Thank you. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. All the board members are here except President Kujawa. Item 1, approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda, Mr. Bart?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Steve Kennedy has an update on the closed session item.
Yes, thank you. After the agenda was posted on Friday, it did indicate a closed session item, but that item had not yet been described. It was described by staff in the most recent version of the agenda, but for additions to the agenda to occur within the 72-hour period for regular meetings, that does require board action. So I would request that the board amend the agenda as has already been amended by staff.
I'll move the agenda.
With the amendments?
Yes, with the amendments.
We have a first and a second. All in favor of approval of the agenda with the changes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Public comment. Is there anybody online or anybody in the audience who wishes to make any comments at this time? No. Ms. Sevi, is there any community members online to give any reports?
Yeah, we have Sam Shoup with Supervisor Cook's office and Victor Hernandez with Senator Rosalisi Ochoa Bogue's office.
All right, I guess we can start with Mr. Shoup.
Hello there. Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for having me go first. I don't have much of an update for everybody today. I'm trying to keep it short. I just want to emphasize a recent resolution that the board passed earlier this month, board meeting on the 11th, that Supervisor Cook is very proud of, something that the board had been looking to pass. This is a resolution strongly opposing the release of out-of-county sexually violent predators into San Bernardino County. As I'm sure many of you are aware, this had been a recurring issue over the last few years, wherein judges from down the hill in various places in the LA area ordered the release of these sexually violent predators who had no ties to our county, ordered their release into our communities. There was an instance in Joshua Tree, 29 Palms, and Newberry Springs that the board passed resolutions opposing quite strongly each time, worked with our RDA to prevent these people who had no connections with our county from being placed here, in one instance quite close to a school bus stop. So we're very excited, very proud to pass this resolution to continually oppose these placements in the instance when another down the hill judge tries to move these individuals into our communities who have no ties here. So that's the main thing that the board has been proud of this past month that I'm excited to share with everybody. But beyond that, I don't have anything specific to provide unless anyone has any questions. As always, I'd love to answer however I can.
Does the board have any questions or comments? No? I guess not. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
everybody.
it.
Absolutely.
And then Ms. Sevi, who is?
Victor Hernandez with...
Yes, Victor. Are you there? There you are. Okay.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm just going to keep this brief. There's no legislative update for this week. The legislature is currently in summer recess, so they'll be reconvening on August 14th, and then the session ends September 14th. So during the September meetings, we should have some more substantive legislative items to report on. But during the meantime, if there's anything that we could do for the district or for any of the constituents, please feel free to reach out to our district office, and we are here to assist.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Okay, is that it? Okay, so then that brings us to item 3, which is the consent items. We have the approval of the minutes, approval of board stipends and reimbursements, approval of county contractor payments, acceptance of the June disbursements and quarterly financials, and the acceptance of the quarterly director expenses. Is there any item that director wishes to pull? If not, can I get a motion to move the consent items?
I'll make the motion to move the item.
I'll second it.
We have a first and a second for the consent items. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent items are passed. Matters removed, there were none. Presentations and appointments, there are none. This brings us to item 6, which is first reading of ordinance 2304. Okay, get my script here. First reading of the ordinance 2304 establishing uniform solid waste recycling and organic disposal requirements. Take it to you, Mr. Bartz.
Thank you. On April 6, 2022, the board adopted ordinance number 2022-02, which established uniform collection of trash, recycling, and organics consistent with the mandate SB 1383 that are designed to achieve the organic waste reduction goals established in section 39730.6 of the Health and Safety Code through a 75% reduction in the level of statewide disposal of organic waste from the 2014 level by 2025. The regulations created to reduce organic waste consist of various components, including providing an organic recycling service to all residential and commercial properties, establishing an edible food recovery program, meeting procurement requirements, tracking third-party organic waste haulers, creating education and outreach materials, and conducting inspection and enforcement activities. Since adoption of the ordinance 2022-02, a self-haul option was approved by Cal Recycle. Therefore, the ordinance was updated primarily to address that provision. Amending this ordinance will complete task 3 of the district's compliance order from Cal Recycle, which is to amend the ordinance to allow for self-haul. A summary of the substantive changes is attached to this memo. The second reading and public hearing are currently scheduled for August 9th, 2023. And staff's recommendation is for the board to waive the first reading of ordinance 2023-04, establishing uniform solid waste, recycling, and organic disposal requirements.
Is there any questions or comments about this, about the waiving the first reading from any board member? President Phillips, Director Hayes, no?
I'm okay with waiving the first reading since we're just talking about amending the self-haul portion of it. Pretty minor amendment.
Okay, yeah, it's just the little red lines that are in there. Okay, if not, can I have a motion to
I'll move
waive?
to waive the reading.
I'll second it.
Any other comments or, no? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That moves us to item 6B, discussion possible action regarding memorandum of understanding with San Bernardino County Fire Protection District for use of Piñon Hills Community Center. Mr. Bartz.
Thank you. The longstanding lease with San Bernardino County Fire Protection District for the old fire station located in the Piñon Hills Community Center expired on June 30th, 2023. District staff met with the fire department staff to discuss renewal of the lease, and it was determined the site is rarely utilized by the fire department and primarily served as an equipment storage for emergency utilization during wildfire events. After meeting with the fire department staff, it was mutually agreed upon that the lease is no longer necessary and an MOU for utilization of the Piñon Hills Community Center during emergency events and for maintaining the communication towers on the premises would be sufficient, thus allowing the district to fully utilize the building for storage and district activities. Going back to when the district was formed, there was an agreement. They had done quite a bit of training for the I believe it was the fire scouts or what it was called. And they would use that facility quite often. Over time, it dropped off to where there was nothing going on. If you were to go in there over the past couple of years, you would have 50 pairs of boots, a bunch of breathing apparatuses, and some cooking equipment was all that it was used for. So the district staff and the fire department came to an agreement that they would basically give that up instead of renewing the lease as it is right now. And staff's recommendation is for the board to approve the MOU with San Bernardino County Fire Protection District for use of the Piñon Hills Community Center. So what that means is we're going to have the community center available to them in emergency situations. If there's a fire on that side of the district, they will use that as a staging area. Pretty much they'll pull up in a couple semis, they'll have all of their food prepared on these semis, and the building is just not used other than for some basic communications. And Steve Kennedy, do you have any comments about the memorandum that's been, I guess, blue lined, not red lined?
Blue and red.
Yeah, blue and red.
Yeah, what you see there is the document that was presented to the district. You see some protected attorney-client communications between myself and Ms. Sevi on there as well. But what you see are the changes that I'm recommending be made to the MOU.
Okay, is there any questions or comments from any of the board members on this? And what's just, I don't know the actual area of that they, do you know about how big it is? And that would be, if there's a MOU, then are you able to use it for storage of stuff?
Yes, so
Or
the
something.
MOU is just to allow them the use of the community center and the tower out there for the communications.
Okay.
There's, in the building, I don't have a floor plan of that, but there's some sleeping quarters, a kitchen. They were using there's some showers and restrooms that are part of the Piñon Hills Community Center that was also utilized, and a big parking bay that they had fire trucks in. So once once the fire department gets all of the equipment out of there, we want to look at that and see how it could be best utilized for some indoor activities, potentially an indoor archery range if there's enough room in there, and teaming with some partners in the community for good community use of the building.
Okay, so you are looking at some type of activities
Yes.
or usage of that?
Yeah,
Okay.
much better usage than
Yeah.
what's happened for years.
Okay. No other comments, questions? Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
We have a first and a second. Is there any, if no other questions or comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to item 6C, discussion of possible action regarding general manager evaluation process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll step back from this one. If you have any questions, I will let Kim take the questions on that one. I thought he was doing a great job, so.
You'll let Kim handle this.
Yeah.
this
So each year, the board will conduct an evaluation of the district's general manager, and for the past several years, the process has been for the board secretary, which is me, to email you an evaluation form, and then you send them back to me, and they are all consolidated together, and then put into a packet that you review with our GM during a closed session. which is currently suggested for 4 p.m. on August 9th, 2023. In the packet, you'll see the template that we used last year. And there is a contract in here. Unfortunately, the one that was put in here was the one that's a year behind because we did amend it last year. But I'll make sure you get the most recent contract in your possession so you can review it. And so if you guys would like to change the process, keep the process,
So
up to you.
I'd open it to the floor. Is there any, you had a chance to look at these? Is there any changes you would like, additions in the assessment, a different way to do it?
I just had a couple comments on the goals and objectives questions. Were those the district's goals, or were there special goals set by the board or
So
the general manager last year?
we utilize the strategic plan and we look at the goals. So, you know, those like we'll maintain the district's water infrastructure, stuff like that. And so we'll put that together, the ones that were for this year, and send it along with this so you can review it.
Good, that'd be a great help. And then it mentions a Coffin Associates 2019 study for compensation. Is that included?
In the evaluation or
Yeah,
in
that
the
was
contract?
in his contract, yeah, in the contract.
Yeah, so this is the older contract.
Yes,
So the new
2019
contract doesn't
contract.
have that language. Yeah. So I'll make sure you get that contract.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just a few comments. This performance evaluation looks typical like you would do with any type of employee working in public service. I think at the general manager level, it's a little bit different. I don't have one-on-one daily interactions with the general manager. We do have conversations. So some of the things that we have to evaluate on, there's really no background information to do it. Typically what I'm used to seeing with general manager evaluation process is it's tied to the strategic plan and then a list of goals. Also, usually the general manager will meet with the board and provide a set of goals he has planned for or he or her has planned for the next year, that type of thing. So I'm open for discussion. It's just in doing evaluations, it's going to be hard for me to sit down and fill out this evaluation process because I'm at a different level within the organization as well as what Don is. This ranking looks more like it would be for manager, supervisor. So that's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Yeah, this form is, this was developed probably a decade ago, slightly tailored throughout the years.
Yeah, it's been adjusted a little bit, but it's kind of a standardized format. If you've got some other suggestions, we could certainly, adjust it and look at it. I understand there's some of the items where I just put not applicable,
Right.
And so.
Yeah. I mean, in the future, with evaluation process with the general manager, maybe we can have some workshops or something that talk about how we want to collectively get together and evaluate the general manager with the HR. So it just, I think if there's certain goals that are set and how we can, how he can achieve those or what the ranking was and different things, it would be a lot better. Some of these things that are on here are good, and I think they can be evaluated, but we can go from there.
Yeah, Mr. Kennedy, so when they have their eval closed session, they could discuss moving forward the goals and everything at that time, correct? With this new board?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, so how does the board want to proceed? Do you want, for this round, do you want to start with this, or do you want to make some adjustments with this before we do an assessment?
I think for this year, I'm okay with this, as long as we have all the background information. And in the closed session, we can talk about a goal-setting meeting and some other things for next year. That's my opinion.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think that's a great idea to have that discussion, because kind of a newer board here for this time around. And if we can, let's look at goals and what do you want to achieve, and we can have a great discussion with that. And then maybe adjust the format next year. It's kind of a little late in the game to change the whole format for this year.
I agree with what Chuck is saying. I think this year we'll have a chance to take a look at us as new board members, and then as we move forward, see how we can revamp it that'll best suit the needs for the board and for you.
Mm-hmm.
Deborah?
I agree. I stick with what we have this year, and then we can look at and see if there's a better plan we can work with for future years.
Yep.
Okay.
Come with your
Is
goals.
that
I'm ready.
consensus among the board members? Okay. All right, so I think we have a direction to move forward with. Are you're good with that, Ms. Sevy? Ms. Sevy?
Yes, and then at some point in the future, well ahead of next year, maybe we could put together a committee to redo the form.
Yeah, that's fine.
Modernize it.
We could have some, as an agenda item, or have two committee members, or two board members put something together and bring it, as an agenda item, so.
I think we have a goal-setting meeting that'll set the stage for it anyways, and the framework for how it should look.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Then we will move to item 6D. Is that right? Did we just do 6C? Yes. 6D, update on the solid waste program implementation.
Not a whole lot to report. We have about 1,400 applications now. They continue to climb. We have a temp in the office helping us get through all of them. And we're about 3 weeks behind on barrel delivery at this point because the response has been overwhelming. So good news. Just very busy.
Kim, I have a question. With the self-haulers, with all the applications, will we reach back out to them and let them know their application?
We're going to do some mailings at some point by the end of the year, but right now we're actually haven't even input any of the self-hauler ones yet.
Okay.
Because we don't need to do anything with CR&R right now.
Until
And so
January.
once we get caught up, they'll be in the system. And then before we do a mailing out to like, hey, we haven't received your info, or your self-haulers is what you need to do, we'll have that put together.
All right, thank you. Yeah, and then I encourage people that are watching online to, there's a lot of misinformation that's going around social media. Please visit the district's website or call our staff. They'd be happy to explain the process to you.
Yeah, I should probably point out, which we did in the solid waste committee, there was a billing error for a little over 800 customers with CR&R. They were pulled into the wrong rate code, so they were charged the county rate, not ours, but that's been corrected. And they're going to be getting a letter explaining what happened. And then CR&R also mailed our application and information to all of their high desert customers. So we had everybody from all over the county calling us, wanting our better rates. And yeah, so
Holy
we're
mackerel.
not very popular right
Oops.
now with the county or Wrightwood, but this was not our fault.
So we're tracking your time so we can back bill CR&R for our labor.
Yeah, we're setting them aside and we're tracking all our phone calls, so.
All right.
Well, I have noticed a lot of the barrel tops have been changed. They're black with the different colors, and I'm beginning to see more and more barrels left out along the roadway. That's one of the issues that it's run in with a lot of areas where people just can't haul those things back and forth, so anyways. Okay, anything else? Any public comment on that item? No? 6E, update on the proposed Civic Center and Phelan Park expansion projects.
Take it away, George.
Thank you, Mr. Bartz. Well, I kind of missed the last meeting, but as it was announced that the project was conditionally approved to the major revision to the approved action. We're finalizing the RFP with the consultant, pending the audio, video, and interior design for the GC. We're going to get this packet put together and have legal review. potentially bring it to the board at the second meeting in August for the recommendation to issue the RFP. Depending on when we'll get those plans and legal's timeframe for review. That's all I got for the Civic Center project. The park expansion project, as of a couple of weeks ago, and this is after reaching out with Jim Morrissey, the county senior planner, the initial study has not been released for circulation yet. And of course, we're waiting for this so that we can get this over to the state for our incidental take permit on the Joshua trees for the park project. We're working on finalizing the contract with the Wallace Group for the 65% scope of work for design. That was approved last month. And we have a kickoff meeting scheduled for the week of August 14th. So we're moving forward with that. So with that, I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
I just had, I can't remember, how far along does the park expansion have to move before you can take from the borrow area to do the Civic Center?
So that was a tricky approach the county struggled with, is how do we manage disturbing the 14 acres on a side project that's not connected with the 5 acres.
Right.
So we have a temporary grading permit for the 14 acres for the grading plan. Now, we're not touching a lot of the 14 acres. We're only touching what we can and leaving the Joshua tree area kind of untouched. So we're avoiding any Joshua trees on that site. That's pretty much managed for drainage and the grading of that project. So.
Yeah, I didn't think the borrow area had any Joshua trees. No. It's, yeah, okay, so I was wondering how that was being coordinated.
Yeah, it was difficult for them to find a way to issue a grading permit for that site. Again, it's going to be graded to future grading for the project, so we're not over excavating. We're taking just enough for our project.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, discussion? No? No? All right.
Just looking forward to finally getting to at least future steps in physical form and not paper.
Putting a shovel in the ground?
Yeah, not just paper.
Yes. Yeah, I think we're looking at 6 weeks for, we're going to have a pre-bid meeting with the contractors, and 6 weeks for the submittal. Then we'll bring it to the board, and then there's some time for contract negotiations with the contractor, and then break ground probably a month or two after. What I'll do is I'll provide an updated schedule and have that for you in the next meeting. So you have an eye on what we're looking at as far as our calendar.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to item 7, committee reports. Engineering did not meet, was canceled. Finance committee met and went over basically the quarterlies, which are in the board packet. Do you have any other comments? No. Legislative committee.
We haven't met for a while. We're scheduled to meet, I believe, next month.
What, was it September? Next month or September? Don't we meet?
September.
September, okay.
Okay. Park and Rec.
I'm not on Parks and Rec, so.
No, I'm not either.
We haven't met since our last meeting back in, I believe it was June.
Okay.
So I have nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Last but not least, Waste and Recycling Committee.
We met last week and we went over what we had earlier in the meeting. And we've decided to move the meetings to the same day as engineering, just at 2:30, to best adjust for all involved that need to be there.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right, that takes care of committee meetings. Item 8 is staff and general manager's report. Mr. Bartz.
Yep, fairly short manager's report. I'd just One of the things I'd like to say that we've taken a look around at some of the issues that we had with the grows over the past few years. And realistically, they're about 1 or 2% of what they've been historically. It looks like maybe it's run its course. A lot of them are moving out of the area. There's still a few that are popping up, and I saw a couple new greenhouses that look brand new. But other than that, I think the majority of them have moved out. Our water system's done really great. I'll just have Sean give a quick report on that. But our staff's done a good job, and we're probably, from what's reported back to me, the best condition that we've ever been in to deal with the summer heat.
That's correct. We assisted the County of San Bernardino for about the past month. We gave them 4.3 million gallons across July. Historically, we wouldn't have been able to do that, especially 2 years ago when those grows were impacting us. Really haven't had to run well 14 other than just for a brief moment when the county was taxing us a little extra hard, but this is one of the better summers we've had of late.
What was the total amount we pumped out of 14, a couple acre feet?
Yeah, just a little bit over 2 acre feet. So at $1,100 of replacement, not terrible.
Just
It's-
well maintenance pumping.
Yeah, well, and that's actually probably pretty good for it, but as Sean said, this is the best we've been able to do in years. A lot of it has to do with the kind of the reduction in water we're pumping, but we're very thankful for that.
Does any board member have any questions or comments about anything in the packet, general managers? Nothing? I just noticed the on big 157, the consumption, it obviously is dropped from the 2020-21 with the groves, and then this was a pretty wet and cool, mild spring. And I think there may be one other factor, although we have more meters, as costs go up, people start to cut back on different things, and one of them might be, outdoor watering and use of water. They're looking at, conserving all of their bills. But I noticed that June, although June was pretty cold, so the consumption, I don't know what July is going to look like. So anyways. So that brings us to item 9, which is a director's report. Do you have a director's report?
Yes, I do. Last week I attended the ASB CSD dinner, and we went over EQ and intelligence quotient, basically, and how important it is to realize that other people, just because their response isn't always revolving around you and what's directly in front of them. I also attended the Wonders of Water at Mojave Water Agency last night. They had a Star Wars themed night to educate children, and I actually learned a few things. They had hands-on things for them to do, and they've actually offered that if anytime you would like, they'd love to come do something like that here. And I was amazed. I actually saw teenagers interacting with things, and they were sitting down. They were actually doing coloring. It was pretty cool to see. And we had kids excited because they had prizes for them, and it was really neat. Hopefully they absorbed a little bit of it. We'll see. That's it.
Director's report? Nothing?
Nothing for me there.
Nothing at that end of the table, and I have nothing either, so it's a unanimous moving on. Correspondence and information, item 10.
Yep, we just have the items in the packet. We renewed our transparency certificate of excellence with CSDA. They add more things every year. They're all on our website. And we did send out the application for solid waste in our July bills. It'll also go out in our August bills. And the notice of the water rate change that went into effect July 1, and some summer conservation tips.
Okay. Item 11, review of action items, prior meeting action items,
There were none.
current meeting action items.
I will be emailing the directors the items regarding the GM evaluation.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Yes.
Setting the agenda, item 12, setting the agenda for next meeting. The regular board meeting is August 9th, so we do have an August 2nd meeting, correct?
We do. We have a board workshop August 2nd at 4 p.m.
Okay. And for the regular board meeting, August 9th? Is there anything slated?
We do have the second reading of the solid waste ordinance and the public hearing.
And was
And
the general
Well,
manager?
Yeah, we'll have the closed session
Closed
regarding the
session.
GM evaluation.
Is there any other item that a board member wants to discuss right now, or if not? No? Okay, so item 13 is, at this point, at 5:41, we will recess to close session. Thank you.